Day and welcome to the SNN Network Summer Virtual Event. Our next presenting company is FAU Limited. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to Richard Retherland, Director of FAU Limited. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. Welcome everyone, and thank you for logging into this presentation. We'll just put up the disclaimer side, and I'll leave that up there for about 10-15 minutes so everyone can read all those disclaimers. This presentation is on FAU. We're an Australian-listed mining and exploration company, and we have a number of highly prospective projects. In this presentation, I'm going to focus mainly on our Victorian gold projects and our Gimlet gold project located in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. Just time requirements and so forth. In respect to Victoria, the company recently announced a new gold discovery from its first drilling program in Victoria, and we were very excited with the results. And it's created a new type of gold discovery in that region, and I'll get to that in further detail as we go forward. So first of all, I'll run through the corporate overview, and our company is all based in Australia. All our projects are based in Australia. On the 10th of June, we announced our maiden drilling results from our Snowstorm project in Victoria, and it covered the announcement of a new mineralised mafic dike vein gold intrusion system. So that is something that we found highly exciting, and I'll go into that in more detail as we go through. We also recorded grades up to about 1 ounce per tonne, which is very high grade and very promising for us moving forwards. Our second project, the Gimlet Gold Project, we also recently put out an announcement in respect to that, where we increased our JORC resource, which is the Australian equivalent of the NI 43-101, to 120,000 ounces of gold, and that was an increase of about 73% from our previously announced JORC resource. Just the capital structure in very quick detail, we have 614 million shares on issue, which sounds like a lot for Americans, but it's very acceptable in the Australian market. And we have a very small market cap. It's only 7.4 million. We have 2.6 million cash in the bank. So a very low market cap with plenty of cash and very high grade gold and base metals projects. Our senior management team, a number of people in this team who have been involved in many companies and projects over their course. As a group, we have taken companies from less than 10 million market cap, which is where FAU is now, to over $1 billion in market cap. So it's not our first rodeo. I apologise for my slide. It's a very old slide. It's the only one I could find where I was wearing a tie. So that's the one that's in the presentation. We have a very strong technical team headed by Dr. Gavin England and Ian Nielsen, who are both very accomplished geologists, and that's really what's the most important thing, having good people running your technical program with lots of experience in the areas where we're mining. So moving into our main projects, the Gimlet Gold Project in Western Australia. It's located 15 kilometres northwest of Kalgoorlie, and we discovered the Gimlet mineralisation within 6 months of listing on the ASX, and that discovery hole was 4 metres at close to 400 grams per tonne. So that gave us a lot of encouragement to continue. We've now built that over the course of the next few years into 120,000 ounces of inferred resource, and we are continuing to drill there. The mineralisation is still open along strike and at depth, and we're planning on building that resource base. Our newest project is what we call our Victorian Gold Project, where we own 80%, and we also have a right to go to 100% on a decision to mine. And our flagship projects are located in the Swifts Creek, Dargo and Hornets stream areas, where there has been historical production of about 140,000 ounces of gold. So our geological team were first movers in this area, and together with Geosciences of Victoria, put together a structural model. And we're in the process of exploring and drilling that. In our rock chip sampling, we've had results up to 440 grams per tonne over an 8.5 kilometre strike length at Haunted Stream. Our ground holding is very significant. It's 2,050 square kilometres, which is about 1,400 square miles. So it's a very large tenement holding indeed. And the Victorian area is now the subject of a very, very strong gold rush, most of it motivated by companies like Mandalay Resources, Kirkland Lake, Fosterville South, and in fact Kirkland Lake has what is probably the best gold resource anywhere in the world right now at a place called Fosterville. And I think last year at Fosterville they recovered something like 640,000 ounces of gold, which is a great recovery, but the grade was incredible. The head grade was close to 34 grams per tonne, and they recovered close to 99% of that. So being in that area is something that we think will be very exciting for the company as we move forward. We also have our projects in the East Pilbara, and I will talk about them a little later, but they're subject to a joint venture, so that won't be part of the company's projects moving forward, although we will retain a 20% interest in those. So looking at the Eastern Victorian opportunity, as I mentioned, Fosterville, which is owned by Kirkland Lake, is the world's most profitable gold mine. Many, many companies have been moving into this Eastern Victorian area and Central Victorian area looking for another Fosterville. And we believe that we're in a very good location, and our geological modelling, which has been done in conjunction with Geosciences of Victoria, has brought about what we call this orocline gold model. And to explain that best, I'm just going to play a short video, and that will give you an idea of what we
First AU would like to give a brief outline of our Victorian Gold Project. The project is located in East Gippsland, near the historic mining area of Swifts Creek. Our focus is on the Haunted Stream and Snowstorm projects. However, FAU's tenure is extensive, covering over 2,250 square kilometres. So, why are we there? New geological understanding shows us that the rocks here are the same as in the central Victorian goldfields. Around 380 million years ago, the Tasmanian plate crashed into the Australian plate. This crash folded the band of Ordovician rocks which contained the Haunted Stream goldfields and shifted the geology to the eastern Gippsland region. Prior to this collision, Haunted Stream was a long strike of the gold deposits of Bendigo, Stawell and Fosterville. Mineralisation in the central goldfields occurred before or during this major fold event. This is where the opportunity lies to find a major gold deposit in the same stratigraphy and structure. FAU has tenure over the Haunted Stream goldfields, which has an 8.5 kilometre strike length and contains over 130 historic workings along a major tectonic scale structure. This includes Ernestine, Hibernia, Rob Roy and Hans Lode. The mining at Haunted Stream produced over 25,000 ounces during the late 1800s and early 1900s. The historic mines were known to produce over an ounce dirt. The area has been poorly tested by previous explorers, and many of the workings remain open at depth. Our other current focus area is Snowstorm, which lies in the historic goldfields of Swifts Creek, which historically produced over 100,000 ounces. Snowstorm has very similar geology to Haunted Stream and contains historic plus ounce production. The mineralization occurs within shears and quartz veins hosted within the Ordovician sediments and occurs as both free gold and sulfide lodes. FAU has identified key structures associated with this mineralization. What's planned for the next 12 months in Victoria? FAU will continue lithostructural mapping of the haunted stream and snowstorm areas. We will also apply high-resolution geophysics at both regional and prospect scale, including IP and magnetics. Drilling at the major prospects at Haunted Stream, including at Ernestine, Rob Roy and Hans Lode. Drilling began at Snowstorm in February, with results expected in the first and second quarters of 2021.
Okay, look, hopefully that explains the geological model we're pursuing, and clearly the video predates our recent drilling results, which were released to the market on the 10th of June. So those results have now been received. We encountered gold mineralization in virtually every hole, as well as identifying a new form of gold mineralization for the area. So the diagram below shows our tenement holdings, which I said previously were very vast and cover some 1,400 square miles. Our Haunted Stream project, we believe, has a very, very good high-grade potential given the historical nature of what's been mined previously. And they were extracting gold at around about an ounce per tonne, with some of the areas and reefs, in particular the Hibernian mine, which was producing at a rate of about 5 ounces per tonne, which is very, very high grade. So we identified two styles of gold mineralisation there. The first is high-grade gold associated with mafic dikes, and secondly, gold associated with shear zones. So we're in the process of applying for drilling permits at Haunted Stream. That process in Victoria, Australia, is a bit slower than it can be in other states, but we already have our mining permits in place for our second project, Snowstorm, which is where we conducted our first drilling program. This slide depicts some of the typical forms of gold mineralization and veining that is evident in the Haunted Stream area. And this is where we will be targeting our drilling program once the drilling permits are approved, which we hope will be approved shortly. Our Snowstorm project lies 15 kilometres north of Haunted Stream, and this is where we announced the drilling results last month from our maiden drilling program. So we had drill intersections up to 35 grams per tonne, which is about an ounce per tonne, and samples from the mullock dumps of up to 123 grams per tonne. And you can see the recent drill results in that bottom bullet point there, and they're also available on the ASX and OTCQB websites if you want to look at them in further detail. So in respect to our drilling program, what we discovered and announced was a new style of gold discovery, being a mafic dike swarm system with close analogues to the Woods Point goldfields, which historically produced around 2.5 million ounces of gold. So we are definitely in the right location, and we're in the right mineralisation. We are planning to commence a new program, which will be a further 1,500 metres, and we're hoping that that program will commence in the next 3 to 4 weeks, which is dependent upon, I guess, getting drill access in those areas. So moving along to our second major project, which is the Gimlet Gold Project, and that's located in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. So Gimlet lies about 15 kilometres northwest of Kalgoorlie, in an area with very strong infrastructure. We're within immediate trucking distance to 5 gold plants in the area, so infrastructure there is excellent, and so there are lots of opportunities there for toll treatment. We discovered the Gimlet project within 6 months of listing, and through an intersection of 4 metres at 400 grams from a depth of 52 metres. So our current JORC resource there is 120,000 ounces of inferred, and we have our mining lease applications underway and advancing discussions with native title, which is a necessary prerequisite to mining. So in terms of our Gimlet mineralisation, you'll see from those diagrams that they're typical intersections for that project. You'll see steep plunging chutes and covered by salt lake. So there's no surface outcrop in that area and no mineralisation in the first 45 metres. So that's quite typical of this area. We are positioned very close to another major gold company called Horizon Minerals, and on the boundary of where we discovered our mineralisation, they've been mining through what they call their teal pit, and they've discovered and successfully toll treated ore in the surrounding plants that are also available to us. So in terms of investment summary and action plan, our model in Victoria is not just something that we think is a good idea. It was confirmed by our geological team working in conjunction with Geosciences of Victoria. So they have defined this orocline gold model as being something where we expect to encounter high-grade gold, and we are drilling in the areas underneath the historical workings to firm up those intersections, and hopefully the next program that we produce will encounter some very high-grade gold and some longer intersections. Gimlet Gold Project, we recently increased that JORC resource. We're looking at mining opportunities for that, and we're working through that at the moment. Our East Pilbara Gold Project, that's also in a very, very prospective area. We're surrounded by companies like Calidus with their Warrawoona project and De Grey Mining with their Hemi Gold discovery. So it's quite a topical area. That is being vended into a new joint venture, and First AU will retain a 20% interest. So in conclusion, with a current market cap of only 7.4 million, it gives us an enterprise value of below $5 million US, with 2.6 million cash in the bank and plenty of upside and opportunity. And in the past, US investors have been wary of penny stocks, but Australians love them. We love the leverage in these stocks. It's much easier to get a share price from a penny to $1 than it is from $1 to $10. So the leverage in these types of in these types of investments is excellent. So that sort of concludes my presentation, and I'll just have a look at the questions I've received. Okay. One question here is, looking at the competitive landscape, what larger player do you aspire to be? And I guess everyone in this, particularly in this Victorian gold region, is taking their lead from Kirkland Lake, and Kirkland Lake is a Canadian company. It's capitalised at $10.3 billion with the best gold discovery in the world. Now, it would be lovely to have an analogue of that Fosterville gold mine. Many people are looking for it. We would be very happy to be an analogue of Woods Creek, where they discovered 2.5 million ounces of gold historically. That would be an absolute excellent knock it out of the park outcome. So another question I have here, although junior exploration companies, so it's a question about partnership with a major. That is always a course of action, and it's probably a preferred course of action, because as junior companies, we're the companies that go and find things. we get out there and we make discoveries. With the major companies, they tend to get involved more once you have something, because they have the financing capabilities and infrastructure and mining speciality to mine the deposits. So that is very much on our agenda. We'll be looking at partnering with some major companies or some major mining finance houses once we have a resource established. Just asking if there are any further questions. Okay. How close are we to the Fosterville project? In terms of physical distance, we're probably about 200 kilometres away. However, our geological model, which I played the video earlier in this presentation, shows that the mineralisation that was previously along strike from Bendigo and Fosterville has been skewed and moved towards East Gippsland. So that we are essentially an extension of the Bendigo-Fosterville mineralisation that has been shifted through the movement of tectonic plates into East Gippsland. So we have the same mineralising events, we have the same rock types, the same age of mineralising events. So we are very confident that this is the type of mineralisation that we're exploring. Okay, well that seems to be it for the questions. Thank you very much for listening in and your participation. And if you would like any further information on the company, our ticker code on OTCQB is FRSAF, or on the ASX, FAU. And my name's Richard Revlins, and all my contact details are available there. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the FirstAU Limited presentation. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect.